Good morning, Out Church family. I am sitting here in the parking lot this morning. I had to come to the store real quick to grab a few things, and I had something happen that I want to share. I was sitting in the car and I began to hear a small ruckus quarreling right outside my window. So I looked down, and in the parking spot, the empty parking spot next to me, with two birds fighting each other. I mean, just going at it. Um, they did that for a moment, and then one flew off, and the other one remained. And I turned back away from them and turned back and looked. When I looked, the one that remained was picking at a piece of fruit. Uh, Relative to the size of the bird, a pretty large piece of fruit. And it became evident why they were fighting. They were fighting over this food. Um, but it was really enough for both of them. It was big enough for both of them. Well, the one flew off um, across the parking lot into a tree. I think I saw him go into. And then the other one came back, and the other one started to eat. Well, when the other one started to eat, guess what happened? hmm The one that flew off first came back, and they started to fight again. And then they just flew off fighting and just left the food there. And I didn't see either one of them return after that. And I thought, the scripture came to me in James 4, I do believe it is, where he says, ask the question, where do wars and fightings come from? And it says, doesn't it come from your own lusts and your own desires to have? And the passage goes on to say, you kill to have and you still don't have, and you steal to have and you still don't have. You ask and you don't get because you ask wrong. King James says you ask amiss, and you ask to consume it upon your own lust. And my heart kind of sunk because I immediately thought about what's going on, particularly in our country now, and all of the fightings and warrings, attacks. Where are they coming from? And they really come from a place of greed, lust, desire to have power. And if you read in that passage in James, it talks about people being friends of the world, not being able to be a friend of God. And we have to understand that when he talks about the world, he's not talking about the earth, he means the world system. And that's the problem with a lot of people. They're caught up in this world system. And this world system is a way of living and operating that does not acknowledge God, that does not submit to God, that does not honor God. And when it's all about us, put me first all the time. Now, I'm not against being purposeful to self, but when your desire to please and appease self and have for self hurts others, or is detrimental to others, or limits others, those birds could have shared that. There was plenty enough for them to share that fruit. There was no need to fight over it. And whether they ate it at the same time or one ate while the other waited, they could have both benefited. But you know what? That's the world's way. We're supposed to be living kingdom way. Yeah. Verse 6 of that chapter says, in all of this craziness, madness, worldliness, ungodliness, God gives more grace. God gives grace. And I've spoken about grace before. Grace is not something passive and flimsy and weak. Grace is power. Grace is the recognition that you can do even in this. So church, people of God, spirit-filled believers and spirit followers, you are graced and empowered even in this season to be able to do, to be able to be, and God's making provision. He's going to make provision. He's going to make provision, my God. Yes, Lord. He's going to give us more grace. He's going to give us grace. We are not just going to survive. We will thrive. But understand where that starts. Those birds thought the thriving was in the surviving was in that food. The fact of the matter is, there's plenty of other food around there here for them to eat. Look around. Look around you. See what God has done. See what He's doing. Even in the midst of this, look and see the miracle. Look and see the provision. Look and see the fulfillment of His word. It's there. He's there. He doesn't change. His truth doesn't change. So let's not war. Let's not fight each other. The church is too divided. We're divided on race, really, still, culture, political thought even sometimes, issues on gender and sexuality and all kinds of things. There's only one body. Only one body. And even with our differences, we're still part of one body. So let's come together. I hope I'm not rambling. I just have a lot of things running through my mind right now. But let's remember, you don't have to fight. We're graced to get through this. God's got us. All right. Love you. Peace. I'm out, church.